Okay, everybody, here we are, man, back again. We're going to continue with our full album reaction to Never Say Die, Black Sabbath. And this is the final album featuring Ozzy Osbourne on vocals. So side one was very good, man. Looks like they're focusing a little bit more on specific storytelling. It seems to take a little bit more prominence in my mind than the musicianship and the instrumentals. Both, of course, are fantastic. They go hand in hand. But I'm really getting a lot of story and relatability and that sort of thing in the first half of the album. So let's see what the second half holds for us, man. Okay, so Never Say Die, side 2. Let's get it. Ballerina, who was at the top of her game when she was younger. Now she's older. Older and alone. Maybe everyone has left her, or maybe she's outlived everyone, and she's only got her memories. Some sad shit. When you think the song is over, it drops in thunder. another example of a song where the instrumentals just stretches it out and leaves you with the impression of the lyrics to ponder. Excellent. Why am I thinking of a Catholic school? A child raised up in a Catholic school environment. No idea who they are. Following this person's life sequence, being lost and disillusioned, They make a series of errors, and now they say that he's sealed in his cell. So that's how he's going to spend probably the rest of his life in jail. Damn. It's an interesting song. This is the instrument. Sexy sexy. song is about the relationships in the band, and sometimes how they can have turbulence. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting, singing about themselves. Well, it's quite the album, and the final album for Ozzy. I believe at this point Ozzy had got into some pretty bad drugs, and they had to let him go. I believe that's what happened. But you know, listening to the music, I don't really see any evidence of a great falling off. You know, maybe this album might not stand shoulder to shoulder with others because the others have notable hits on them. But this album is still very, very solid in the sense of the music, the instrumentation, Ozzy singing, what they're trying to convey. All of those great elements of Black Sabbath is still there, minus any, you know, notable hits, notable commercial hits or whatnot. But hey, you know, it's still a great album, and I would still listen to it. You know, every song is excellent. And yeah, the whole album, they are dealing more with having something to say. They are more on a personal basis. I know sometimes too that they're talking about something on a global scale, but more so this was more of a interpersonal scale, interpersonal dynamics between, I'm guessing they're singing more about the band's dynamics themselves rather than anything outwardly. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I have a feeling that he's singing, their music is reflecting more about where they were as a band. Maybe they were facing the reality that it was time to maybe part, and but they knew that they had the ability to make good music, make good money, and be successful. But at the same time, they were very unhappy. Wow. So that's the feeling that I'm getting from this whole album. That's the vibe I'm getting. And knowing a little bit about their state at this time, I'm just kind of maybe putting two and two together. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong. If you know your Sabbath history, clue me in. Let me know if I'm in the ballpark there or if I was a little bit off or whatnot. But hey, overall, this is a good album, and I like it very much, man. And I would definitely listen to it again. So yeah, fantastic. Now, when Ozzy left, I don't know if he immediately took up and started his own band, and with Randy Rhoads and Rudy Sarzo. But yeah, let me know about that too. How long did it take? Did he leave the band? And I know that he went into rehab. Did he immediately go into rehab, or did that come after? Where was his timeline, and when did he get the band together, or his personal band together? And the relationship after that between him and the members of Black Sabbath, did it continue to be strained, or did they reconcile shortly after, or did it take decades to reconcile? That's what I want to know. Let me know about that. Okay, man. So I'm just bringing up Wikipedia page here. Yo, and there's a lot of information for it. I didn't expect that. There's a Never Say Die tour with Van Halen. There's a big portion of release and reception. I'm going from bottom to top. And the recording is the biggest portion here. So I'm going to hop around a little bit. But let's get a little background on the song, or on the album. Never Say Die. Never Say Die is the 8th studio album by English rock band Black Sabbath, released September 1978. It was the last studio album with the band's original lineup, and also the last studio album to feature original vocalist Ozzy Osbourne until the 2013 album 13. It was certified gold in the US on the 7th of November 1997, and as of November 2011, sold 133,000 copies in the US since the SoundScan era. The album received mixed reviews, with critics calling it unbalanced and insisting its energy was scattered in too many directions. Okay, so that's the first little intro. You know what, man? Recording is just massive. Let's skip the whole recording part. Yeah, let's go down to release and reception. That's a big part too, but I'll read maybe just one paragraph of release and reception. In the UK, the title track, released well ahead of the album and the band's first UK picture sleeve single, reached number 21 in the chart and gave the band its first Top of the Pops appearance since 1970. In the UK, the album reached number 12, one place higher than its predecessor, Technical Ecstasy. In the US, it peaked at number 69 on the Billboard Pop Album chart. In the UK, Hard Road was released as the second single from the album and reached the UK Top 40. 25,000 copies being pressed in a limited edition purple vinyl. There was no picture sleeve released, but a video for A Hard Road was made during the Never Say Die tour to promote the single. The song marks the first and last time guitarist Tony Iommi sings backing vocals. Iommi explains in his autobiography, Iron Man, My Journey Through Heaven and Hell with Black Sabbath, that when he sang, bassist Geezer Butler couldn't keep a straight face. The album received mostly negative reviews, and it is not held in high esteem today, with AllMusic referring to the album as unfocused, saying it will hold little interest to the average heavy metal fan. Rolling Stone says it was not a blaze of glory for the original foursome, but added that it may be better than people might remember. In 2013, Phil Alexander of Mojo referred to the album as disastrous. Yeah, that is way too harsh. Disastrous? It is not disastrous. It doesn't have hits on it, but it's got good songs on it. Alright, yeah, let's read one more short paragraph. Speaking in October of '78 of the new album, Osbourne said, "It's a combination of what we've all been through in the last 10 years. Yeah, it's introspective. Yeah, I knew it. It's a very varied album. Like we started out playing in blues clubs because British blues, like John Mayall and early Fleetwood Mac, was the thing at the time. We were into a 12-bar trip and early 10 years after style stuff. So it's part of that sort of trip. Then there's the heavy thing and the rock thing. It's not just steam, hammer, headbanging stuff all the way through. We got rid of all of our inner frustrations, what each of us individually wanted to put down over the years, but couldn't because of the pressures of work. So we put a lot of painstaking hours into developing this album." Okay. Yeah, so they were just doing their own thing. And, you know, I'm sure that the studio said, yeah, you know, I want you to do something where there's hits and this and this. But they were pretty much in command at the time, and they just decided to do their own thing. Yeah, sure, the album isn't as good as others, and it doesn't have any notable hits, but it's by far from being disastrous. However, Osbourne quickly soured on the LP, telling After Hours in 1981, "The last album I did with Sabbath was Never Say Die, and it was the worst piece of work that I've ever had anything to do with. I'm ashamed of that album. I think it's disgusting." He went on to claim that the band flew to Toronto in January during sub-zero temperatures purely because the Rolling Stones had recorded a live album there. In 2013, Osbourne told Mojo, "I'd go down to the studio and I heard what sounded like a jazz band playing. Is that really Black Sabbath? I'd just F off." Osbourne was fired by the band 8 months later. Despite the negative reception, Soundgarden guitarist Kim Thayil, Thayll, cited Never Say Die as one of his favorite Black Sabbath albums. Megadeth covered the title track for the 2000 tribute about Nativity in Black 2, with singer Dave Mustaine telling Nick Boycott in 2008, "The simplicity of Iommi's style makes this rhythm progression one of my all-time favorites. Fast, classic English riff stylings with a climactic arrangement." Andy LaRocque guitars for King Diamond was influenced by the album in making of the melodic guitar part of Sleepless Nights from the Conspiracy album. Okay, so yeah, that's yeah, I read the whole release and reception. So Never Say Die, there's a Van Halen portion here, and I'm gonna skip over that. And then at the bottom, they've got a Top of the Pops appearance. And yeah, let's read that and then we'll conclude. I'm curious. With the success of the Never Say Die single, Black Sabbath was invited to perform on Top of the Pops. The band twice appeared in the studio, miming to the song. One of these appearances was included on the official The Black Sabbath Story Volume 1 video release. In his autobiography, Osbourne remembers the appearance fondly, "Cause we got to meet Bob Marley. I'll always remember the moment he came out of his dressing room. It was next to ours, and you literally couldn't see his head through the cloud of dope smoke." He was smoking the biggest, fattest joint I'd ever seen, and believe me, I'd seen a few. I kept thinking, he's gonna have to lip sync. No one can do a live show when they're that high. But no, he did it live, flawlessly too. In his autobiography, Iommi reveals that because Bill Ward had his hair in braids at the time, everyone thought he was faking the Mickey out of Bob. It wasn't like that at all though. It was just the way he happened to have his hair in those days. Unquote. Funny as hell. Glad I read this part. Yeah, Bob Marley and his ganja, man. So, that is my reaction. Excuse me. And my review. Lemon drops needed here. And my review to this album. Now, it's a good album, man. And it's not disastrous. And the fact that they basically decided to do whatever they wanted to do, just a melting pot or a tossed salad, if you will, just injecting all of their different ideas and whatnot into it. I don't think that they had the intention of creating an album with notable hits or whatever. They were just throwing darts at the board and just saying, yeah, this is our album. This is our feelings. This is about us. And this is just what we're going to do, just because we at this point in our career have the power to do so. And I think that's all this album reflects. Yeah, you know, I mean, you can have good songs on an album, and the album can be a good album even without hits on it. And so to call it disastrous, I think is being a little bit ignorant. But anyway, hey, that's just my personal feelings. And I know that this critic was comparing it to previous albums with hits. I get it. And as a critic, you've got to say that. But disastrous, it's just too harsh. That's my opinion. Anyways, man, hey, I want to continue with Black Sabbath, of course. And I know that Ronnie James Dio now comes in. So I'll try and get to that within the next week and just continue the Black Sabbath chronology. And I've also dropped the ball on Deep Purple. I've got Burn to do. And so what I'll have to do is just take up from where I left off. And I believe that Burn is the 7th album. When Deep Purple was Artist of the Month, I think I got to the first 6. So I'm pretty sure that Burn is the 7th. But anyway, I'm going to be getting to Burn very soon as well. And so, you know, with Artist of the Month taking up a lot of my reaction time and whatnot, it might stretch out a little bit, but I definitely will stay on top of it as much as I can where it comes to Black Sabbath and Deep Purple. And also, too, I definitely, you know, with the passing of Neil Peart the other day, I definitely want to get back onto my Rush reactions. When I started my channel, I started focusing on 3 supergroups: Rush, Pink Floyd, and Led Zeppelin. And along the way, of course, came Black Sabbath and Deep Purple. So I want to continue with that. With Rush, I'm not doing full album reactions. I'm basically just bouncing around. So with Rush, unless, you know, you really feel that I should do this in a full reaction format, let me know what you think that I should react to. And what I'll do about that with Rush is I'm gonna upload all of the reactions to Rush that I've done, so that you can see what I've already done reactions for, and then you can then direct me from that point. But in my mind, I don't feel that it's necessary to do full album reactions for Rush and start from the beginning like I did with Zeppelin. I'm guessing I'm about 10 to 12 reactions in for Rush. So I think I'm just gonna go from one song to another probably. But anyways, man, hey, that's my reaction to Black Sabbath. That concludes the Aussie years. I'm looking forward to getting into the Dio years, and I'll definitely continue my Black Sabbath reactions, man. Let me scroll down and see what else I got, just to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Nobody's Fault But Mine. That's yeah, that's the next Led Zeppelin reaction, the next Led Zeppelin song. And so where are we if we're at Sunday? So I'll probably be able to knock that out with it in the next couple of days, probably by Wednesday, for Led Zeppelin. I'll wait to hear from you guys in regards to Rush, but what I'll do is I'll upload all of the Rush reactions, and then you can tell me where to go from there. And what else was I going to say? Of course, I've got some complimentary quads coming. I don't want to fall behind on that. Some Patreon exclusives. And I'm sorry, man, I didn't write it down, but there was something. I'm forgetting to say something else here. That's okay. It's going to come to me as soon as I shut the damn camera off. But anyways, I like this album very much, despite what critics might have to say about it. I would definitely listen to it a couple more times. It's not a forgettable album in my mind. And yeah, overall, I like it, man. And I like it knowing that these guys were doing whatever they wanted to do, and they didn't care whether there were going to be hits or whether they weren't going to be hits. And from this album, I really got you know, a kind of good point of view aspect from them. And you know, to that person who wrote and said it's a fool's errand to look for any great wisdom or enlightenment or whatever it is that they said, I think that you're dead wrong. The way you listen to rock and the way I listen to rock is completely different. And so, yo, man, keep that dumbass opinion to yourself. That's what I gotta say to you, because I really enjoyed this album. And if I went into it with a point of view like that, I wouldn't have gotten out of it as much as I did. So I really like this album, and I'll listen to it again, and I'll certainly absorb in and take in all of the great wisdom and enlightenment that it has been providing me. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me. I appreciate it. You guys have yourselves a good day, and I'll catch you in my next Black Sabbath full album reaction. Peace.